Welcome back to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Have you realized that anytime William Ruto is cornered, he always sends Musalia Mudavadi to create a crisis where there is none? Today, Musalia Mudavadi was in a church, in that church where that very brave lady lectured President William Samoei Ruto. And he made certain statements and you would even wonder, what is he talking about? Musalia Mudavadi is lecturing people to be in a country where we respect the rule of law. He's telling us that they have traveled, globally, they have traveled into some nations where people can't go to schools, there's a crisis, and you wonder, what is he driving at? I listened to Musalia Mudavadi, and I want you to listen to him and tell me the first thing that comes to your mind after that speech. Kindly take a moment and listen to Mudavadi.
Ni lazima kama taifa tuwe a nation that respects the law, the rule of the law, and the processes that are demanded by the law. Tukiheshimu bunge, tuheshimu. Tukiheshimu county assembly, tuheshimu. Tuheshimu executive, tuheshimu mahakama. Kenya itakuwa vizuri kama tutafanya vile. Na tumekuwa tukitembea, juzi tumekuwa pahali, sitaki kutaja mataifa. Kubadilisha uchumi wa nchi sio kitu rahisi. Tumekuwa kwa nchi hawana mafuta, hawana petroli. Public transport ime collapse. Tumeona mataifa, bara la Afrika saa hizi, watoto milioni 100 hawaendi shule kwa sababu ya ghasia na vita. Tushikane kama Wakenya, tuhakikishe kwamba hatufiki kiwango kama kile. Tuepukane kabisa, tuwe na utaratibu na tuheshimu serikali, tuheshimu rais wetu wa Jamhuri ya Kenya ili ndio tuwe na manufaa.
What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you listen to Mudavadi lecturing people about respecting the rule of law, respecting parliament, respecting the judiciary and the executive? Because he is indirectly telling people respect William Samoei Ruto. I believe that the first thing that would come to your mind is between the executive itself and the common man, who should be reminded to respect the rule of law? Between the presidency and wananchi, between Musalia Mudavadi and William Ruto and the clique that are in government.
William Ruto has maintained that the Social Health Insurance Fund will be implemented whether there are court orders against it or not. This statement from the head of state comes just days after he held a meeting with Chief Justice.
That was when William Ruto was facing some challenges in court in regards to the transition from NHIF to SHAF and all that. And William Ruto maintained that he was not going to obey court orders. People must have health care. And here he is telling us that people must respect the rule of law. Yet, he had declared that he was not going to listen to the court because he was saying someone wanted to hinder his development agenda. Once again, who should be reminded to respect the rule of law? Now, the reason I'm saying that any time William Ruto is cornered, you will see Musalia Mudavadi creating a crisis. Like, he's talking, why is he reminding us that there are nations where people can't go to school? There are nations, what is his agenda? If people don't go to school, and I know, let me just be fair to him, he's very right that we need to have a country that is peaceful. We need to have a country where people can travel, without sounds of bomb and guns. But if you look at it very clearly, as we speak today, it is the government that does not respect the rule of law. People have got the freedom of picketing. But the way they pick people, those who criticize the government, they are kidnapped, some are tortured, some are killed. Who is creating a crisis here? It is the government and not the people. We have a constitution that allows us to even criticize the government. And a healthy nation is one that allows wananchi to criticize it. That is the level of democracy. I want you to listen to Musalia Mudavadi a few months ago when Parliament passed the Finance Bill 2024 and coerced it down the people. William Ruto realized he was cornered and he himself was in a crisis. He sent Musalia Mudavadi to create another crisis that was not there, telling us that had the opposition, had they reject the finance bill, that would be tantamount to a vote of no confidence in the government, and that people would have gone for a re-election. And you wonder, where does he get all this from? Can't you listen to Musalia Mudavadi once again?
Finance. Mukiangusha finance bill kwa serikali yoyote, the next thing watasema that was a vote of no confidence, therefore the government must go home and we have fresh elections. That will be the end result. Kwa hivyo mkisimama hapa na watu wanacheka kule na nyinyi mnafikiri ni mchezo, watu wanataka kupanga kwamba waangushe finance bill ndio wanaseme this is a vote of no confidence in William Ruto aende nyumbani. Don't take it lightly. Don't take it like a joke. It is serious. Katika Kenya hii we want stability.
What would you say? You remember what happened during the Gen Z protest. It is the Finance Bill 2024 that led to the Gen Z protest. And you imagine, these are the kind of people who surround William Samoei Ruto. Instead of telling them that this finance bill does not resonate well with the people, he tells us that, if this had been defeated, then you would have gone home. I believe that is what he's telling William Ruto. That, because Musalia Mudavadi has been a finance minister before. So I know he was telling him because of that experience that had they lost that motion, then he was telling William Ruto you would have gone home and people would have gone for a re-election. And they know very well that Ruto cannot win an election, especially during that moment when they passed the Finance Bill 2024. Finally, William Ruto said he was not going to sign that bill. Of course, I can see it coming back under John Mbadi. But the question is, why, after saying that he was not going to sign it, why did people go back to election? And I've seen this, we can give many examples. William Ruto knows very well that Musalia Mudavadi is soft-spoken, and there's a way people trust him. And so he sends him to create a crisis, to create fear. Is there anyone who does not respect the office of the president? Because they keep on reminding us, you need to respect the office, the presidency. If you see a father who keeps on reminding his children that he needs to be respected, that he is the father, I can assure you that there's a problem. Because a father needs to attract respect, to command respect automatically without reminding them. And if you realize that people don't respect you, then you need to call yourself for a meeting and ask, why aren't they respecting me? Why? I know this message was targeting maybe the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua, but that is now a gone case. We know very well that the processes that went on in the National Assembly and in the Senate were commanded. Those were dictates from the executive. The rush that went on, the gazettement at night, the appointment of Kithure Kindiki, and all the moves to contacting the HALB, IEBC, all those clearing agencies, and they cleared Kithure Kindiki the following day. He was affirmed at the National Assembly. We know. And even as it went to the courts, there was no hope, because the courts and all these institutions are in the pocket of the executive. So I don't know where the fear is coming from. People respect the rule of law. It is them that need to respect the rule of law. One would ask, what happens in the event that people don't have faith in our courts? Anything that pits you against the executive, rest assured you're going to lose it. So what happens? They tell us respect the rule of law, respect the institutions. And I know it could also be referring to the day when people went to parliament. There must be a reason why people decided to occupy parliament. There must be a reason why people go to the streets. And when you feel that people don't respect the rule of law, then why don't you try and answer yourself? Why don't people respect the rule of law? People are asking about the chief. People are asking about a Adani deal. People are asking about the university funding model. And they realize that things are not working. They rush to ensure that they do away with Uhuru projects. And now they tell us that you have to respect the rule of law. There is no crisis. We should not be reminded of countries that don't go to school. Corruption is a menace and a curse that always eats into our nerves, eats into our pockets. We have wastage in the country. If we allow the country to continue in the direction it is going, then the UDA government will take Kenya to the direction that Musalia Mudavadi is warning people. You know, everything lies with the government. If you create an environment where people can go to work, an environment where businesses can thrive, an environment where people can criticize the government, an environment where there is no corruption, then things will be okay. But you can't be threatening people that, you know, if you do this, we will get to Somali way. If we do this, people will not go to school. Let the government do the right thing. And I just want to say that it is true we need peace, but that peace must be created. The government has the sole mandate to protect us. Femi Said is now taking a center stage. What is the government doing? The police was sent to Haiti. Yet we have such a crisis in the country. So who should be blamed? Instead of Musalia Mudavadi to remind us of the rule of law, let themselves remind the executive and the entire UDA government that they should respect the rule of law. But this does not exempt the common man from respecting and upholding the rule of law. Everyone, even those who are at the highest office, must uphold the rule of law. But if you want Kenyans to trust that very rule of law, the institutions that dispense justice, the institutions that maintain law and order, must themselves respect the rule of law. That speech has backfired, and I don't think it was necessary. And this idea of trying to unleash, or rather charge Musalia Mudavadi to create a crisis where there is none, or when they have been caught in one crisis, they want to create a crisis that is not there. Like in the case of finance bill, they were telling us the government would have collapsed. It didn't. And I don't know what you think about Musalia Mudavadi and the way he defends William Ruto. For me, I think it is very unnecessary to whip emotions where there is none.